Hello everybody, this is Safa, and there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about more advanced sword fighting. The first thing I want to mention is that when you pick up a sword, okay, the sword is basically going to tell you how it wants to be used. Okay? You're going to figure out where its balance point is. We talked about this in some previous videos, so this is the third video out of a three-video series. So basically the sword's going to tell you how it wants to be used. So a sword like this is kind of blade heavy. It wants a lot of body. You got to put more torque behind the sword, So that's what this sword, you can do some rotational stuff, because the blade's a little bit heavier and it's going to take a little bit more momentum to get the blade moving, okay? In contrast, the sword like this, is not, you got more of the weight back here, it's got a light tip. This sword is a little easier to get moving. You really don't need to do any rotational stuff with this sword because it'll just move just quick. Sword like this really likes thrusting, it's basically, it's a late, 14th, 15th century thrusting sword. So a sword like this, it doesn't need as much of a body motion to get it moving, okay? By contrast, you got your rapier. The rapier basically exclusively wants to thrust. Okay, it's really not very good for cutting. It's basically a stabbing tool. And with something like this, you're looking to get the guy's blade out of the way and just basically thrust it. That's your rapier. And then you got typical cut and thrust sword over here. This sword, again, it's not that blade heavy. It doesn't need a whole lot of momentum to get this sword moving. You can arm a lot of your shots, which is to say that you shouldn't arm all your shots, because if you're arming all your shots, your arm's going to get tired. So you want to get some body behind your shots, but you don't need to get as much body behind your shots. Okay. These are your typical swords, and the main point I'm trying to bring out here is that this sword is going to tell you how it wants to be used. So with the sword and shield now, I want to talk to you about how do you approach an opponent. In earlier videos we've talked about the various type of shots. We've talked about the onside shot. We talked about your offside shot. We've talked about your wrap shot. You talked about your slap shot. And most shots are some variation of those shots. One of the things when you approach an opponent, you want to initially, you want to basically just throw some shots out there, safely behind your shields. In a lot of videos I see a lot of guys doing this kind of stuff where they're opening up. Basically, the shield always stays in front of you, and you're throwing your shots. So initially, you want to stay behind your shield, really safe over here, and just throw some shots out there. This corner's covering my head, the bottom tip here is covering my legs, and what I'm looking here to see is how does my opponent react. When I throw a shot, what does he do? Does he back up? Does he move left? Does he move right? Does he block a certain way? Maybe he's the kind of guy that shield blocks. Maybe he's the kind of guy that sword blocks. Maybe he's the kind of guy that always steps to one side or the other side. So that's what you're looking to do initially with a lot of your shots. The shots that you throw, don't have to be really hard shots because they're basically probing shots, but they need to be hard enough so that they're respectable, so that he's going to react, in the way that he would as if he feels that he's being threatened. So the shot's got to have some power behind it. Okay, but again, you don't have to invest a lot of power. And that's one of the things that you have to consider. Each shot you throw is basically an investment. You don't want to go into a fight and basically have every shot be a hard shot because you're just basically bleeding a lot of energy. What you want to do is go into a fight, throw a couple of light shots, and then basically when you see that opening, throw that hard shot. So that's how you kind of want to approach your fight. One of the things that you're doing is, as you're throwing your shots, you're watching your opponent. At the more advanced stages, your offense should kind of be almost on autopilot. You know all your shots. You know how you throw your offsides. You know how you throw your onsides. You know how to throw your leg shots. You've probably developed a couple of sequences of combinations. For example, you might have, let's say combination A, which might be offside leg. Okay? You might have combination B, which might be a wrap to the leg followed by an offside. So you might have combination C, which might be a slot shot over here followed by a step to the side, and a cut to the head. Okay? So you want to have a couple of different combinations already kind of pre-programmed in your mind, and basically then you just go out there and you execute them. So when you're fighting, it's very important to understand that if you're over here and you're throwing a shot over here, this shot, okay, is a different shot than a step to the side and that shot, because you're changing the angle. Okay, so if you're here and you're throwing a shot, just by taking a small step to the side, throwing the same shot, you've actually created a different shot because the openings are now different. So that's something to consider. That's very important when you're fighting. That you want to consider movement. You don't want to waste energy with your motion. If you take, every step has to be measured in the sense that you don't want to take more steps than you need to, because then you're wasting energy. So if I'm here, I'm not trying to completely corkscrew on the person, kind of like a Tasmanian devil. I just want to take one step here, throw my shot. Maybe one step here, throw my shot. Or step, throw a shot. Because you don't want to just keep bleeding energy like that. Okay. Now the other thing I also want to bring out is the difference between tournament fighting and fighting, basically if you're in a war. In tournament fighting, again, we have this concept of you trying to conserve energy. You're trying to throw shots that are going to count. You don't want to waste energy. In a tournament, you probably don't need to throw as hard a shot, although they probably still need to be respectable. So in tournament fighting, I could be up here. I'm going to start most of my shots with the blade covered, probably up here, because from here there's less of a tell. If I'm starting my shots from back here, you can see that, you can see that sword travel some more. Let me pick up a different sword that might be a little bit, I'll use this practice sword here, just because it's probably more visible. So if I'm here, okay, my hand being safely behind my shield, most of my body being covered, I can throw these short shots, which have a lot of power. In a battle type of situation, first of all, I'm probably not killing the person that's directly in front of him. I'm probably killing the person that's to my diagonally. So it'll be the person that's off to the right or off to the left versus the person that's immediately before me. The person who's to my side is probably going to get a better angle to kill the person that's in front of me. So with that said, in a battle type of situation, you probably instead of starting your shots from up here, close to your face, where the sword's also kind of blocking your head, you're probably going to cock a little bit further back, and you're going to probably put a little bit more power behind those shots. In a battle type of situation, you're probably dealing with less experienced fighters, and they're not looking for that tell, whereas here, if you're here and you kind of hitch, come back here, the guy's already throwing a shot at your head, in a tournament type of situation. But in the battle type of context, the opponent probably, they're not gonna see this motion as you come further back. So in a battle, you can bring your hand a little bit further back and kind of get kind of a running start to create a powerful shot. So that those are my thoughts on advanced fighting. The important thing that I like to bring out is that all advanced fighting is based on deception. You kind of want to think of the body as 4 quadrants. If I'm trying to attack this quadrant, I need to get your defense someplace else. So basically, I'll fake to the leg, come up to the head. Likewise, if I want to go hit you on this side over here, I'll fake to this side, turn the sword over, and go to that side. Or if I want to come here, I'll fake here, come down to the leg on this side. But while you're doing this, the shield has to be in front of you at all times. I'll demonstrate that again. So if I'm here, and if I want to fake to the leg over here, if I want to get to the leg over here, I'll fake up here, cut down here towards the leg. If I want to hit you on this side over here, I'll fake on this side, turn the shoulder over to that side. If I'm, so in all advanced fighting, you want to basically bring your opponent's defense to one area in order to open up another area. Another thing to be aware of is that, you know, any decent fighter, when they're in a tight guard, let me demonstrate again. If they're in a tight guard like this, they're almost impossible to hit, you know. If they know what they're doing, you know, if you try to step around to the left or to the right, they're just going to pivot with you. So it's really hard to get inside somebody's defense like this. If you try to get around them, what's probably going to happen is you're going to open yourself up and you're going to get hit. So when you're up against a good fighter, someone who's experienced, what you're probably looking to do is you're looking to attack into their offense. For example, while here I'm pretty covered up, you know, when I go to throw a shot, I'm open. Something has to open up. So, you know, anytime I go to throw a shot, that's probably when I'm least vulnerable. You know, if not while I'm actually attacking, certainly on the return. You know, so that's one of the things that you want to look for in an advanced fighter. You know, when you see them in a really tight guard, you know, don't kill yourself, or don't get yourself killed trying to penetrate that tight guard. What you want to try and do is you want to use probing attacks. You know, that's the attacks I was saying before, where you're just kind of safely throwing these type of things out there, just kind of baiting them, you know, getting them to react. You know, wait for them to open up. You know, and you use these tight defensive attacks just to kind of, you know, get them to attack you. And then when they do that, you look for the opening. You know, figure out where they open. Some guys are going to drop their shield a little bit. Some guys are going to move their shield over too much to the left, too much to the right. Maybe they'll raise it. You know, or maybe they're constantly stepping to the left a little bit or to the right a little bit. So this is what you want to look for in an advanced opponent when you're fighting them. Use those initial cuts at it. It's kind of the same way a boxer is jabs. You know, when a boxer gets into the ring, he's just sitting there. You know, he's outside the range. He's just throwing jabs. You know, he's just baiting the other person. He's just trying to see how they react. What do they do? You know, what are the patterns that they follow? And then basically use that information to beat the guy later on. Thank you very much for watching. This is Tafa.